No one wants to come to Indiana. Remember when Sheryl Swoopes said that? Well, Kelsey Mitchell just dropped a truth bomb that has Swoopes looking foolish. During her first interview since the start of training camp, Mitchell didn't hold back against Swoopes' lies. This interview exposes everything Swoopes got wrong about the fever. From claims about veterans avoiding Indiana, to suggestions that Mitchell herself was unhappy, to stating Indiana and Caitlin Clark aren't dominant. The actual footage tells a completely different story. Watch as Mitchell, Clark, and Coach White systematically dismantle every false narrative that's been floating around this team coming from Swoopes. If you stand with the fever, comment, "Fired up for the fever" down below. Are you ready? Let's go. I remember this time last year, it didn't feel good, so we had to get that in order for people to start playing. Well, it's like a domino effect. But I think once your culture is kind of established, how you guys see it now, I think it makes everything else up way easier. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's set the record straight about Kelsey Mitchell and the Indiana fever. When Sheryl Swoopes went on her Queens of the Court podcast claiming Mitchell was unhappy and unappreciated in Indiana, she painted a picture of a fractured team that veterans actively avoided. But watching Mitchell's recent interview tells a completely different story. One of excitement, camaraderie, and genuine optimism about the fever's future. The first thing you notice watching Mitchell speak is her unmistakable energy. There's a brightness in her eyes and an authenticity to her smile that can't be faked. When asked about the upcoming season, she doesn't give rehearsed answers or diplomatic non-statements. Instead, she leans forward, fully engaged, her enthusiasm practically radiating through the screen. I think the best part right now is everyone wants to be here. Now, it's really downplay, it sounds cliche, but it's nothing like being where you want in and everybody feels value in order to go have a good training camp, have a good preseason, so you can have a good first game when the season starts. But I think right now, it's just that good feeling of everybody feel like, hey, I want to be here and I want to compete. So that's the phrase that I think the best part right now is everyone wants to be here. Mitchell states with conviction, directly contradicting Swoopes' narrative of discontent. This isn't just team PR speak. You can hear the sincerity in her voice. Mitchell elaborates on how this shared commitment creates an environment where players push each other to improve daily. That's not the sentiment of someone feeling undervalued or looking for an exit. What's particularly telling is Mitchell's emphasis on the team's fresh start. She speaks glowingly about the new atmosphere that's been cultivated, giving special attention to the leadership changes that have reinvigorated the organization. The excitement in her voice peaks when discussing how these shifts have created a more positive, forward-looking culture within the team. Culture. And I think once you establish the respect in the room, the environment is always is value with that. I think those days that are tough that you do have to give grace for, it's respect behind it. We don't expect perfection right now, but we do expect discipline. We expect hard work. So if we could cultivate that and then give ourselves some grace when it's time to go win games, I think we will. When the conversation turns to the veterans who've joined the fever, players like Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard, Mitchell's face lights up. She details how these experienced players have brought valuable perspective and championship mentality to practice sessions. Having veterans who choose to come here and share their knowledge changes everything, she explains, effectively dismantling Swoopes' claim that established players avoid Indiana. Observe Mitchell's body language throughout the interview. Does she appear like someone feeling unappreciated? Quite the opposite. When discussing her teammates, she gestures animatedly, often breaking into spontaneous smiles. There's a comfort and confidence in her demeanor that speaks volumes about her actual experience with the team. I think that mix of leadership that we have from your DBs, Tosh Hours and Sid, is going to help ease things out based on the people and that's coming around as he is. But I also think that it do helps us. Let me say this. Before we got here a month ago, we were all coming in. We would come from our respective homes to establish that already. So I think that we established that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It might have been open run, it might have just working out, but we've already kickstarted how we want to play here, so we could do here. Mitchell's perspective on building a winning culture is particularly insightful. She emphasizes that success isn't just about collecting talent, but fostering chemistry that translates to on-court results. We're learning to play together, to understand each other's strengths, she says. That's how you build something sustainable. These aren't the words of a disgruntled player. They're the thoughtful reflections of someone invested in long-term success. Perhaps most damaging to Swoopes' narrative is the fact that Mitchell actively chose to return to the fever. Actions speak louder than third-party speculation, and Mitchell choosing to continue her career in Indiana speaks volumes. When asked about playing alongside Caitlin Clark, Mitchell doesn't show the resentment or tension that Swoopes implied. Instead, she talks about complementary skills and mutual respect, describing how their different playing styles create opportunities for everyone on the court. I think their strength for one is always, from a physical standpoint, her strength and her ability to now make plays that people don't think about. Whether it's that skip to skip, I mean, a person of her caliber, it seems small, but it's going to make her go from having 25 to having 28, or 10 assists to 12 assists. So, for one, her strength, and then after that, professional. Learn how, watch a film, know what you need, and I think that's what's tough for her specifically, but the rest, as far as are in the bag, I think strength is always going to be a main thing for her. Mitchell's genuine enthusiasm for the team's direction becomes most apparent when she talks about their collective goals. We're building something special here, she says with conviction. I want to be part of that. The passion in her voice when discussing the Fever's future prospects completely contradicts any notion that she feels marginalized or unhappy. That something special brewing in Indiana? Caitlin Clark is approaching it with a mindset that would silence her critics. While Sheryl Swoopes confidently predicted Clark would struggle to adjust to the professional game, Clark's own words reveal a rookie who understands exactly what it takes to succeed at the highest level. When asked about her first WNBA season, Clark immediately focused on an area many rookies overlook: physical development. The strength training aspect has been my biggest adjustment, Clark explained, her voice reflecting determination rather than frustration. These women are just stronger. They've been professionals for years. That's where I've had to grow the most. This matter-of-fact assessment shows Clark isn't blindly expecting to dominate based on college success. She's identifying specific areas for improvement and attacking them methodically. Yeah, that was like my biggest focus in the off-season, is just trying to get stronger and really working on that, and really thankful for Sarah, our strength and conditioning coach, put in a lot of time with me, and we were in here consistently. I think that was the biggest thing for myself, is just having that consistency to be able to work on it for 6 months or whatever it was. So I certainly feel a lot stronger, and, I'm a pretty self-aware person. I knew that was going to be a huge part of it, and, it's going to help me offensively, it's going to help me defensively, it's going to help me not get as tired throughout games, So yeah, definitely one of the focus points of my off-season is just getting stronger, and, even through these 2 practices, I can certainly feel it. Clark's pragmatic approach extends beyond physical training. Rather than lamenting the challenges of transitioning to the pro game, she frames it as an exciting evolution. You're learning a new offense, new teammates, new coaches. It's like starting fresh, she said, her eyes brightening with enthusiasm. But that's the fun part. I'm embracing all of it. Notice how she characterizes these adjustments as opportunities rather than obstacles. That's hardly the attitude of someone struggling to adapt. What's particularly striking is how Clark discusses her teammates. During the interview, she maintained consistent eye contact when mentioning specific players, leaning forward slightly with genuine animation. Playing with Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston has been incredible, she shared, a natural smile spreading across her face. We're figuring out our chemistry on the court, but off the court, we already click so well. The comfortable way she references her teammates by first name, without hesitation or formality, speaks volumes about the relationship she's building. I don't think anybody's trying to be alpha, everybody's trying to be a good listener and be there for your teammates. It's how do you find the balance of doing both? How do you speak up and be a great leader, but at the same time, how do you listen and how do you get better? And I think it all speaks to the relationships that you have with your teammates is you got to go out of your way to build those. So when something goes wrong or you have to hold somebody accountable, they know it's coming in the best interest of the team. So I think it just starts with building relationships, getting to know your teammates, but at the same time, we have so much great personality on the scene. That's what's going to make it fun. That's what's good. Fans are going to love and to wash about us. We're going to have a lot of fun playing basketball, and, you embrace that about your teammates as well. This camaraderie directly contradicts the divided locker room narrative Swoopes tried to sell. Clark appears fully integrated with the team, referring to group activities and shared goals with authentic enthusiasm. We grab dinner together, we hang out. It makes coming to practice fun every day, she explained. When you genuinely like the people you're playing with, it makes everything better. Her body language remained open throughout these comments, shoulders relaxed, occasional laughter, none of the tension you'd expect from someone feeling isolated. Perhaps most revealing is Clark's perspective on the team's trajectory. Instead of focusing solely on individual accolades or immediate results, she demonstrates patience and long-term vision. "We're building something that will last," Clark emphasized. "The wins will come as we grow together." This mature outlook directly challenges Swoopes' suggestion that Clark would be frustrated by anything less than immediate domination. "I was so used to playing basketball for basically a year of my life. That's all I did, so the rest was certainly great, and, I thought it was going to feel long. It really didn't. It felt really short. Like, we played a lot of pickup. We were in here all the time. I was in here with Keith all the time. Had teammates coming in and out all off-season working with me and wanting to get better. So, like I said, I thought it would feel kind of long and drag a little bit, but it goes way quicker than you think. But that rest aspect for myself, just, getting my body where it needed to be and really working on things that I needed to work on was super important, but I'm ready to compete again, so I'm excited." When discussing game preparation, Clark showed remarkable self-awareness about her development process. "I'm watching more film than I ever have," she admitted. "In college, you might rely more on talent, but here, the mental preparation makes all the difference." She described specific defensive schemes she's learning to navigate and offensive sets she's mastering. Detailed analysis that reveals her commitment to professional growth. The joy Clark finds in the game itself remains evident despite the pressures of being the league's most scrutinized rookie. "At the end of the day, it's still basketball," she said with a genuine laugh. "Sometimes with all the attention you can forget that. But when I'm on the court with my teammates, that's when I'm happiest." This perspective, finding joy in the process rather than fixating on results, suggests a player built for long-term success rather than flash-in-the-pan moments. When she's won championship, she knows what it is. So when she speaks, everybody listens. So I think that was a piece of the thing we were missing last year. Is like we didn't really have that inside of our locker room. So just really grateful for that. And just the way she talks and she leads. Like for me as a second-year point guard, like I want to win for her. Like this is the end of her career. Like she deserves it. Clark's focus on strength training, film study, team chemistry, and professional development paints a complete picture of a rookie committed to mastering every aspect of her craft. This comprehensive approach directly contradicts Swoopes' dismissive prediction about Clark's inability to adapt. While Swoopes looked for weaknesses, Clark has been systematically addressing them, transforming potential limitations into strengths. Players can only flourish within systems designed for their success, and that's where Stephanie White enters this story as the mastermind architect. When Swoopes suggested the Fever lacked direction, she clearly missed White's methodical approach that's quietly constructing one of the most promising young cores in the WNBA. The first emphasis is defense, really, and making sure that we understand the expectation on that end of the floor and, how we want to play, the physicality with which we want to play, the mindset, how we want to be on the defensive end of the floor. And then I think offensively, it's just, being creative, learn how to make plays. It's understanding that you can be in any position on the floor, that we want to be truly positionless, and then how do we put one another in positions to be successful? What actions benefit your teammates the best? And then learn how to play, making mistakes and self-correcting when we are making those mistakes in live action. Coach White's basketball philosophy centers around a three-pronged approach that gives this team its identity. "We want to be a defensive-minded team first," White explained in her recent media session. "Our defense creates our offense." This defensive foundation serves as the bedrock of everything else the Fever are building. Far from the directionless team Swoopes described, White has implemented a detailed defensive system that leverages the unique physical attributes of players like Boston and Hull. The second pillar of White's vision emphasizes creative offensive expression. "I want our players to play with freedom within structure," White noted. "Basketball is a game of creativity, and I never want to stifle that." This balanced approach allows Clark's exceptional passing vision to flourish while still maintaining offensive discipline, a sophisticated system that contradicts any notion of strategic confusion within the organization. What's particularly striking about White's approach is her commitment to positionless basketball, the third element of her philosophy. "The modern game demands versatility," she explained. "We're developing players who can defend multiple positions and attack from anywhere on the floor." This forward-thinking approach positions the Fever not just for immediate improvement, but sustainable success in a rapidly evolving league. The coach's leadership style reflects the maturity needed to develop young talent. "We have to give grace while holding each other accountable," White emphasized during a particularly revealing moment in her interview. "This is a process. Her calm demeanor when discussing the team's growing pains suggests a coach who understands the developmental timeline required for championship contention. Patience. Swoopes apparently couldn't comprehend when making her dismissive comments. "For winning is uncomfortable. It's hard. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to be able to keep our focus on where we want to be, but also understand that it's not linear, right? That it's not linear." White's assessment of the roster reveals another dimension missing from outside criticism. "We have extraordinary depth at every position," she stated, leaning forward with unmistakable confidence. "That creates healthy competition in practice, which accelerates development." The coach's methodical analysis of player combinations shows she's not merely assembling talent, but constructing a roster where skills complement each other strategically. Perhaps most telling is White's process for building game rotations. "We're tracking every practice rep, every scrimmage outcome," she explained. "We're identifying not just individual strengths, but which 5-player combinations maximize our effectiveness." This data-driven approach to team construction reveals a level of organizational sophistication that completely contradicts Swoopes' characterization of the franchise. The value White places on veteran presence further undermines the narrative that established players avoid Indiana. "Championship experience is invaluable," White emphasized. "Veterans who've been there create the standard in practice that elevates everyone's game." The coach's body language while discussing roster construction, leaning in, gesturing confidently, maintaining steady eye contact, displays none of the uncertainty you'd expect from someone lacking strategic direction. They don't know what they don't know, right? And nobody does. Life is a great learning experience for all of us, but having players who have been in here who have won championships, on the sideline and in the locker room with them. I mean, Tasha Howard's won 3. Certainly think Sid Colson has won 2, and DB's won championships. Breon January and Karima Christmas have won championships. So having those players alongside her that can help guide and understand what it takes on a daily basis, what it takes on a play-to-play basis. Throughout her interview, White exudes the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly where this team is headed. There's no defensiveness when addressing criticisms, no overcompensation with empty promises, just the measured assurance of a coach with a comprehensive blueprint for building a contender. When the dust settles, what we've witnessed through these interviews isn't just a rebuttal to baseless claims. It's the unveiling of a franchise transformation happening in real time. The evidence speaks volumes. A team genuinely excited about its direction, players who respect each other's talents, and a coach with a crystal-clear vision for success. The 2025 Indiana Fever aren't just hoping to compete. They're building the foundation for something sustainable and special. From Mitchell's renewed commitment to Clark's professional growth to White's strategic brilliance, there's an undeniable synergy taking shape in Indianapolis. Critics like Swoopes may continue their skepticism from the sidelines, but they'll eventually have to contend with what's becoming increasingly obvious.